In this example, it's a little more complicated than the previous one you just read about. It does two things. There's an assumption in here that the author knows or assumes that we know what a couple words are in this short passage, and they also assume, or the author also assumes, that we are able to visualize what he's describing there. And this comes from a website that describes how a Dyson bladeless fan works. So let's kind of go through this together. So as we're reading through this, the air flows through a channel in the pedestal. So students may or may not, depending on what level they're at, think about what a pedestal is. So that might be something that the author assumes that they know, but they don't. Through a curved path that comes out from small 16mm slits around the frame of a fan. So since we're using the metric system, they may not actually know what 16 mm is in the fan, and then also at a 16-degree angle. That may be a little more tough for them to visualize. The steeper the angle, that slope. You may think that this just causes the air to blow in the shape of the surface of the cylinder. Maybe what a cylinder, but because of the physical laws of inducement, so here's a big section, the physical laws of inducement and entrainment, this allows for the surrounding air to also become drawn in from multiple areas around the fan. In other words, picture your TV weather map. A small low pressure region is created which actually draws in the air from behind it, like forming a tropical storm. So again, the author in this section is going to make the assumption that students understand how wind and tropical storms work when air moves from areas of high pressure to low pressure, and this generates wind. The simulation push and pulls of air creates a quiet, even, constant flow of the breeze. So we have some ideas or some words in here that students may need to look up to have a better understanding of it. We're going to assume that they're a little bit older in this case and they have a better idea. Laws of physical inducement and entrainment, they'll definitely have to look up. But let's just go with what we got and try to make a visualization. So you say we're thinking about what a fan looks like, but in this case it's going to be a bladeless fan. So air flows through the channel in the pedestal. All right, so we're going to draw, so we got our channel here. We have a pedestal that the fan's going to sit on. And rather than having a blade, we got this open area here. And so the air blows in the shape of the cylinder, and so the air flows through the channel, the pedestal, through a curved path, and comes out small 16mm slits around the frame of the fan at a 16-degree slope. So we're going to have some air that's going to move up this way, and then it's going to flow out these little cuts or passages at a 16-degree angle. And then what we think about, well, the air is going to move like in a tropical storm from high pressure to low pressure. So air is going to come in from the backside here, and then it's going to get pushed out the front side, thus creating our fan and our airflow or air movement. So the idea is for students to do the best as they can the information is try to visualize and draw what they think is going on, because in this case the author is making two assumptions. One, they're making the assumption that they'll understand all the words within this passage, but two, also the author makes the assumption that the reader is able to visualize what this design, what this looks like in order to provide the meaning. And so it's okay if students don't get it, but ultimately having them try to draw and figure this out will help them identify more specifically what they need to know or what they need to look up in order to help them understand what's going on in the passage.